If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Leah, and today we are doing yoga at a primitive camp spot on Second Pond in northeastern Maine. My adventure partner Adam and I have been traveling around and trying our hardest to avoid people, and that has led us to some pretty cool spots. So I'm going to head down to the camp spot and we'll get started with yoga. Alright, so this is where we're camping for the night. It's pretty flat, so it's a great place to do yoga. If you guys are ready, we're going to begin in Child's Pose. So your shins are down on the mat, your hips are moving back towards your heels. Your arms are reaching forward and your forehead is moving towards the mat. Your knees can be close together with your chest resting on your thighs, or they can be open wide with your chest dropping down. And then while you're here, just start to bring your focus to your breath. You could take a deep breath in and exhale, sigh it out. And then start to narrow your breath down to your nostrils. So you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And if that is possible, maybe you could begin to slow that breath down, smooth it out so it's not choppy, and lengthen that breath. And then whenever you're ready to move, you're going to take an inhale and come up onto all fours. Adjust your hands so that they're underneath your shoulders. Adjust your knees so that they're underneath your hips. And then from here, you're going to take your left toes to the back of the mat. Lift your left foot as high as you would like. Look back at those toes. Make sure that they're facing down towards the mat. And then if you're feeling stable and you want to take it a little bit further, you can lighten that right hand. Maybe reach it out in front of you. Thumb up like you're going to shake someone's hand. So you're reaching back through your heel and forward through those fingertips, looking down at the mat so you're not straining your neck. Take an inhale, lift everything. And then as you exhale, set your right hand down. Set your left foot down in line with that right foot. And then you're going to begin to lift your left hand up to the sky for side angle. So if you're not feeling stable here, all you need to do is move your right toes back behind you and tuck them so that they act as a kickstand. Maybe you reach that left hand up to the sky. Maybe you take it over your head, palm down, and reach forward so that there's a nice straight line. Inhale, lift that left hand up. Exhale, left hand down to the mat. Left toes lift up behind you. And as you exhale, bring your left knee towards your nose. Inhale to extend. Exhale to close in. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. Exhale, pull your belly muscles in. Inhale, extend, and then exhale, put that left knee down. Press your hips back onto your heels. Take another child's pose. Maybe you flip your palms up to give your wrists a break. And if you're ready to move, you can flip those palms back down and inhale, come up onto all fours. Begin by taking your right toes to the back of the mat. Begin to lift them as high as you would like. Make sure your toes are turned down and your hip is internally rotated. if you're feeling strong in that right arm and you want to take it a little bit further, you can lighten the weight on your left hand, maybe reach it forward, thumb up. Again, you're reaching back through your heel, you're reaching forward through your fingertips, looking down at the mat so your spine is nice and even. Pulling your belly muscles in to protect your back here. Take an inhale. Go ahead and put your left hand down underneath your left shoulder, right foot down in line with your left foot. Go ahead and lift your right hand up to the sky. So find your stability here. Decide if you want that left foot in line with your right, or if you want to take it behind you and tuck your toes for a little bit more stability. And then inhale, reach that right arm up to the sky, and exhale, start to take it overhead, palm down, so there's a nice straight line from your right hand to your right hip to your right foot. Feel that stretch in your right side body. Take an inhale, reach that right arm up to the sky, and as you exhale, right hand comes down underneath your right shoulder. Begin to lift that right foot once more. Inhale, and as you exhale, knee to nose, try to get it as close as you can. Inhale, extend, maybe lift your head and your chest if you'd like, and then exhale, crunch, bring your knee to your nose once more. Inhale to lift and extend, and then exhale one more time, bring it in. And then extend that right leg, and you're going to put it down on the mat. Press your hips back onto your heels. Child's pose, maybe you want to flip your palms up. All right, with your palms flat on the mat, come into all fours. With your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, tuck your toes, lift your knees, press back into a downward facing dog. So in this downward facing dog, your feet are about hips width apart. Your heels are reaching down towards the mat. Your hands are about shoulders width apart, and your fingers are spread nice and wide. Press into all 10 fingers. Relax your head, relax your neck. Take a deep inhale, feel your lungs fill up, feel your ribs expand, and feel your intercostal muscles stretch. On your next inhale, lift your heels up, and as you exhale, bend your knees and step your feet up to the front of the mat. Take your arms back along your sides like a pair of wings with your palms facing each other. And as you inhale, sweep all the way up. Reach up. You can look up if you'd like. And then bring your hands through prayer at the center of your chest and down at your sides. Come into mountain pose. With your feet hips width apart, your arms can be hanging down at your sides, or you can bring your right hand to your belly and your left hand to your heart. Go ahead and close your eyes if that does not mess with your balance, and just bring your focus back to your breath. Go ahead and drop your hands down to your sides if they're not already there. And you can hang out in this mountain pose, or if you want to challenge your balance, you can maybe come onto your right toes, stare at something out in front of you that's not moving, and that helps with your balance. And if it's possible, begin to lift that right foot and reach for your shin, ankle, or foot. And you want to think about keeping your right knee in line with your right hip, but maybe stretching it back behind you a little bit so you stretch the front of that right thigh. being aware of your abdominals and just pulling them in to protect your low back. Go ahead and release that right foot, and we're going to switch sides. So ground that right foot down. Maybe just start by lifting your left toes, and if it feels good, you can reach for that left foot, shin, or ankle. And then remembering to keep that left knee in line with your left hip so it's not splaying out to the side. And then if you want a deeper stretch, all you have to think about is moving that knee behind you a little bit, and you should feel a nice stretch in the front of that left thigh. Gently release that. Your feet are hips width apart. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, reach forward, fold down towards the mat. Bring your hands right below your knees, and as you inhale, halfway lift, get a little bit of length. And then as you exhale, your hands go flat to the mat, your feet step back. You're in a high plank. So your hands are underneath your shoulders, your belly muscles are pulled in tight. And you can decide if you want your knees on or off the mat as you lower all the way down. Slide your hands forward so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders and you're on your forearms, and then inhale, lift your head, lift your chest for Sphinx Pose. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, lower back down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press up to all fours, and then tuck your toes, lift your knees, press your hips back, downward facing dog. You can adjust your hands, adjust your feet, relax your head and neck. Maybe bring a little bit of movement to this downward facing dog by letting your hips sway side to side. And then find a moment of stillness, take a full breath. On your next inhale, lift your heels. As you exhale, bend your knees, step your feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your big toes to touch. Start to drop your butt and bend your knees, but don't go more than 90 degrees. Take your arms back along your sides, and as you inhale, lift your head, chest, and arms, but don't move your legs. Chair pose. As you exhale, straighten your legs and fold for the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your hands go flat, your feet step back. High plank. Decide if you want your knees on or off the mat, and then you can lower all the way down. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, Cobra Pose. As you exhale, lower down. Keep your hands in line with your shoulders, but move them a little bit wider than your mat. Pop up onto your fingertips so that your elbows point up towards the sky. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, Spider Cobra. Opening up those chest muscles. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, lower back down. Hands come underneath your shoulders. You can move to downward facing dog through a child's pose, through all fours, or you can tuck your toes, lift your knees, and press yourself all the way back to down dog. Once you're in that down dog, adjust your hands, adjust your feet. And then from here, you're going to step your right foot up to the front of the mat. Lower that left knee down and slide it back so that you're in a low lunge. Now you can hang out right here with your hands on the mat. You can pop up onto your fingertips or use blocks to support you. You can lift your head and chest and bring your hands to that right knee, or you can bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest. If you want to take this a little bit further, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and lift into Crescent Lunge. Making sure that your hips are nice and square here. Your right knee is in line with your right hip and over your right ankle. Maybe you lift your arms up to the sky, maybe you keep them at prayer at the center of your chest. And then if you lifted that back knee, go ahead and slowly, without crashing, lower it down. Hands come back to the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, send that right foot back to a high plank. And you can lower down to whatever degree you would like. You can lower all the way down for a cobra pose, or you can lower halfway, lift your head and your chest, come onto the tops of your feet, upward facing dog. And then exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Left foot steps up to the front of the mat. First, drop that right knee down, slide it back to your own degree. Decide if you want your hands on the mat, if you want them on that left leg, or if you want them at prayer at the center of your chest. And then just spend a moment here, let the weight of your upper body open your hips. If you're comfortable here, you can hang out. We will come right back. If you want to take it one step further, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, come up into Crescent Lunge. Be aware of your hips. Make sure that they're even. One's not higher than the other. Being aware of that back knee, lifting it as much as you can. Taking an inhale, and then exhale, slowly lower that back knee down. Maybe you lift your head and chest up to the sky, and then as you exhale, both hands come down to the mat. Moving into that high plank by tucking your back toes, lifting your back knee, stepping that left foot back. Lower to your own degree, upward facing dog or a cobra with your inhale. And as you exhale, move it back to downward facing dog. Adjust your hands, adjust your feet, relax your head, relax your neck. If this is not a comfortable resting pose for you, and this should be a resting pose, you can modify. You can put your knees down. You could come into a child's pose. You could take a drink of water. Whatever feels good for you. On your inhale, lift your heels. As you exhale, bend your knees. Step your feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, forward fold. Bring your big toes to touch. Drop your butt, bend your knees, arms go back along your sides. Inhale, sweep up for chair pose. You can have your arms reaching up to the sky, or you can bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest. You can hang out right here. You could take a break in forward fold, or you could begin to lift your right foot up as much as you'd like. Maybe you straighten that right knee and extend that foot forward. Go ahead and set it down on the mat. Maybe you just lift your left heel Maybe you lift your left toes. Maybe you extend that left leg. Go ahead and set your left foot down. Inhale, straighten your legs, reach up to the sky, and as you exhale, fold forwards down towards the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and as you exhale, hands go flat, your feet step back for a high plank. Lower down to whatever degree you would like. Upward facing dog or a cobra with your inhale. And as you exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Right foot steps up to the front of the mat. Drop your left knee down, slide it back. From here, you're going to start to lift that left foot, and you're going to reach your heel towards your glute. You could hang out right here, or you could take it one step further by reaching that right hand up to the sky for a gentle twist, and then reaching that right hand back to see if you can grab that foot, pull it in a little bit closer. Go ahead and release that left foot. Right arm up to the sky, and then bring that right hand back down to the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, step that right foot back, high plank. Lower down to your own degree. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot up to the front of the mat. Drop that back knee down. Hang out here for a moment. And then whenever you're ready, you can begin to lift that right foot up, reaching your heel towards your glute. Inhale, left arm reaches up to the sky for a twist. And then you can reach back and try to grab that back foot. Pull it in a little bit closer to your glute. Opening your chest up to the sky, maybe turning your face up to the sky if it's possible. Maybe letting that right hip sink a little bit lower. Go ahead and release that back foot. Left hand goes down to the mat. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, step that left foot back. High plank, go ahead and lower down to your own degree, upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale, take it back to downward facing dog or any other resting pose, whatever feels good for you. If you are in downward facing dog, maybe you step your feet a little bit wider than the edges of your mat. Maybe you step your feet in 6 inches or so. Just doing something nice for your hips here and your low back. You can hang out right here, or you can take it one step further. Your right hand reaches for your left shin, ankle, or foot. Look underneath your left armpit. Right hand comes back to the mat. And then switch. Left hand reaches for your right shin, ankle, or the outside of that right foot. Go ahead and look underneath your right armpit. Left hand comes back to the mat. Step your feet back to hips width. And then inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees and step your feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. With your big toes touching, drop your butt, bend your knees. Inhale, rise up into chair pose. You can hang out right here, or if you'd like, you can begin to lift your heels up. Maybe you can get your feet vertical. If you want to take it one step further, you can start to lower yourself down. Come to squatting and balancing on your heels. Now, if you lowered all the way down, you're going to have to come all the way back up. Drop your heels down. Inhale, straighten your legs, reach up to the sky. And then exhale, fold forwards down towards the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands go flat. Your feet step back. You're in a high plank. Lower to your own degree, upward facing dog or cobra with your inhale. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. Step your right foot up to the front of the mat. Stay on your back toes. Arms go back along your sides. And as you inhale, sweep up for a crescent lunge. And as you exhale, sink a little bit lower. You may want to step that back foot in just a little bit. And then you're going to hinge forward, kick up off that back foot, come into warrior three. Your arms are reaching forward, that left foot is reaching back behind you. Bring your hands to prayer. Begin to come up to standing. You can bring your left knee in towards your chest. And then go ahead and reach for that left foot, shin, or ankle. Your right hand reaches up to the sky. Hinge forward. Kick that left foot back. You should feel a lot of engagement and strength in the front of that left thigh. And then come all the way back. Your left knee is in towards your chest. Your hands are at prayer at the center of your chest. Reach your arms up to the sky. Hinge forward once more. Left foot reaches behind you. Bring your left toes to the mat. Come back into that crescent lunge. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, your hands go flat to the mat. Your right foot steps back. You're back in that high plank. Again, lowering to your own degree. Maybe you skip it because you're getting tired. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra if you choose, and then eventually making your way back to a downward facing dog. Step your left foot to the front of the mat. Stay on your back toes. Arms go back along your sides. Inhale, rise up for crescent lunge. Exhale, sink a little bit lower. Decide if you want to step that back foot in a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, hinge forward, kick up off that back foot. Warrior three for a moment. Bring your hands to prayer at the center of your chest. Begin to rise up to standing, bringing that right knee in towards your chest. And then whenever you're ready, you can reach that right hand down to grab your foot, shin, or ankle. Left hand reaches up towards the sky. Hinge forward, reach your left hand forward, kick your right foot back. Again, finding something out in front of you that is not moving to help with your balance. Whenever you're ready, you can gently release, come back up into standing. Hands are in prayer, knee is in your chest. Reach your arms up to the sky. Once more, hinge forward, kick that right foot back. Bring your right toes to the back of the mat. Land in a crescent lunge. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. Exhale, hands come flat to the mat. Left foot steps back, high plank. Lower to your own degree, upward facing dog or cobra. exhale down, facing dog or any other comfortable resting pose. We'll take a few breaths here. If you are in downward facing dog, remembering to relax your head, relax your neck. Pressing all 10 fingertips into the mat so you can press your hips back over your heels. If you are in child's pose, start to rise up onto all fours. If you are in downward facing dog, lower your knees down. Cross your ankles, roll over them, and you're going to roll all the way onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest, and you can rock and roll from side to side, front to back, and just massage your spine if you'd like. Keep a hold of that right knee. Reach your left foot up to the sky and then let it fall down towards the mat. So you're going to start to hug your right knee in towards your chest. Maybe start to take it in the direction of your right armpit or to the outside of your ribs. Maybe you slide that right hand down to your shin, ankle, or outside of your foot. Turn the sole of the foot up to the sky. Pull your knee down on the outside of your ribs. For 1/2 of a happy baby. All right, from here, start to loosen your grip. Lift your head, lift your chest. You're going to start to bring your right big toe in the direction of your left ear. So your shin is coming across your chest. You can hold that shin, ankle, foot, knee, however it is comfortable for you. And you're going to try to bring that right big toe in the direction of your left ear. So it would help to lift your head, lift your chest in the direction of that toe. You should feel your abs engage here, and you should feel a stretch in the outside of your right hip. Now, if you want this to be a little bit more restful, you can put your head and chest down. From here, your right foot goes to the outside of your left leg. Right hand and gaze go out to the right. Your left hand pulls your knee to the left. As you're twisting, make sure that your right shoulder is down on the mat. Think about pulling your right hip back to the mat, and you should feel a nice stretch in the outside of that right hip. So as you're pulling your right hip back down towards the mat, your left hand is pulling your knee in the other direction, so you should feel a nice stretch along the outside of that right leg. Gently start to come back to center. Squeeze both knees in towards your chest. Maybe rocking from side to side or front to back. And then keep a hold of that left knee. Reach your right foot up to the sky and let it fall down towards the mat. Start by pulling that left knee in towards your chest. Then maybe you start to move it towards the outside of your ribs. Maybe slide that left hand down to your shin, ankle, or outside of your left foot. Come into 1/2 of a happy baby. The sole of your left foot is up towards the sky. Your knee is being pulled down towards the mat on the outside of your ribs. Make sure your right foot is reaching down towards the mat. Make sure your right hip is reaching down towards the mat. So you're not rolling off to that left side. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, see if it's possible to release any tension in your hips, in your low back. And then whenever you're ready, start to bring that left big toe towards your right ear. Lift your head, lift your chest to make that space a little bit less. Experiment with which way to hold that leg, ankle, foot, and knee. Notice if this side is tighter than the other or not. And you can keep your head and chest lifted if you want to work your abs a little bit, or if you want more of a rest, you can put your head down. Keep that left ankle flexed to protect your left knee. And then whenever you're ready to release, left foot goes to the outside of your right leg. Your left hand and gaze go out to the left. Your right hand pulls your knee to the right. But instead of getting a full twist here, be aware of that left hip. Maybe try to pull it down towards the mat to get more of a stretch on the outside of that hip. Gently start to come back to center. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest. Squeeze your toes, your thigh muscles, your calf muscles, your arm muscles, your ab muscles, your face muscles, everything into a tight, tiny little ball as you inhale, and as you exhale, release into Shavasana. All right, you are welcome to hang out in Shavasana for as long as it feels good for you. And I think it's time for me to go for a swim and make some dinner and hopefully play some chess if I'm lucky. All right, I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah.
So we had an awesome time at this camp spot. We had it totally to ourselves. The mosquitoes got pretty bad at night, and then it rained all night and we woke up to a nice foggy lake. We just had breakfast, we packed everything up, and we're gonna head to the next spot. So I will see you next time, guys. Bye. Oh, that left foot. No, it's your right. No, it's your left.